Good morning, everyone.
Good morning po.
Good morning,
Good morning po, sir.
Good morning po, sir.
Before we start our class, can someone please lead us with a prayer? Ms. Katakutan, could you please lead us with a prayer?
Yes po, sir. Let us bow our heads and feel the presence of the Lord. Lord, thank you for this day po. Nagsama niyo po kami, Lord God, para po klase kay Sir Jar. Pagpalaan niyo po ang aming teacher, and we pray, Lord, we give you, Lord, full control over this class, Lord. Ito po ang aming panalangin sa pangalan ng aming pinakamamahal na si Jesus. Amen.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Katakutan. Before we have our discussion proper for this morning, let us first recall what we have discussed last time. So, Ms. Gersha, what was our discussion last time?
Sir, we talked about angles po, as well as yung terminal sides po, yung initial side po. And natutunan po namin kung paano ma-convert po from degrees to radian and vice versa. Natutunan din po namin ang pagkuha ng terminal sides po. And nakapag-convert po kami from degrees, minutes, and seconds po. Yun po.
Okay. Ms. Gonzalez, what else? Would you like to add anything? Or Mr. Humakyo? Yes, Mr. Humakyo, what else did you learn last time?
Yung sinabi lang din po ni Rachel, naaalala ko about dun po sa may angles po.
Okay, how about Miss Alipio?
Sir, ano po?
What did you learn last time? So how do you convert degrees, minutes, seconds into just degrees?
Yung wait lang po. Yung pagka po ita times po sa 60 po yung minutes po. Tsaka po yung seconds.
Okay. Remember that if you are converting degrees, minutes, seconds into just degrees, remember that you need to, yes, Miss Garsha, what do you need?
From minutes to degrees. From degrees, minutes, and seconds po to degrees po, sir?
Yes.
Sir, para po ma-convert po siya to degrees po, i-divide po natin una po yung minutes by 60 po. Then po, kapag po nakuha na po natin yon yung minutes, sorry po sir, seconds po wala muna. Next, yung minutes po, i-divide din po sa 60. Hanggang po makakuha po tayo ng number po, na yun na po yung magiging degree po.
Okay. So how about converting degrees into degrees, minutes, and seconds? Yes, Alphonse, what are we going to do?
Sir, in converting naman po degrees to degrees, minutes, seconds po, ang gagawin po natin is kukunin po natin yung point side po ng sa degrees po. Then, i-multiply po siya sa 60. And then, after po nun is makakuha po tayo ng value po ng minute. Then, dun sa value po ng minute is makakuha din po tayo ng point something din po. And then, we will multiply again po sa 60 para makakuha po tayo ng value ng second. So, dun po makakuha po tayo ng degrees, minutes, seconds po.
Okay, thank you so much. Always remember that if you are converting degrees into degrees, minutes, seconds, always remember to isolate the whole number because it will now serve as the value of the degree and the value of the minutes. And you will stop once you are on the third process, and that will be for the seconds. So how do you convert degrees to radians and radians into degrees? Anyone would like to share? Yes, Miss Gersha?
Sir, to convert degrees po to radian, we will just need to multiply the degree to pi over 180 degrees po. Then, to convert radian to degrees naman po, we need to multiply the radian value by 180 degrees divided by pi po.
Okay, thank you. So that is how we convert degrees to radians and radians to minutes. Always remember that we have three quantities: the degrees, the radians, and the revolution. So what do you think are the relationship among the three quantity? Anyone? So what do you think will be the relationship among the degrees, the radians, and the revolution? Yes, Miss Gersha.
Sir, one revolution is equal to 360 degrees and both are equal to 2 pi po. Yun po yung radians naman po.
Okay, thank you. So those are the relationship between the degrees, the radians, and the revolution. So I'll just share my screen for our topic for this morning. So our topic for this morning is all about introduction to the circular functions. So do you have any idea about circular functions? From the class? Or were you able to tackle this in your junior high school years? Any idea about circular functions? You may raise your hand if you would like to answer. None? Okay, so I guess this is a new topic for all of you. So this will be our learning objective for this morning, is to illustrate the different circular functions, use reference angles to find exact values of circular functions, determine the domain and the range of the circular functions, and solve problems involving circular functions. So before we start, I'd like to ask something about unit circle. So what is a unit circle? Anyone? Because the basis of our discussion. Yes, Ms. Gersha, what is the unit circle?
Sir, from what I can recall po, unit circle is any circle with radius 1 unit po and whose center lies on the origin po.
Okay, thank you. So a unit circle is a circle whose center is at radius is 1 unit. And remember, unit, therefore, a unit circle contains a diameter of what? What is the diameter of a unit circle? Yes, Rachel?
2 po.
Very good. So the diameter of a unit circle is 2 units. So this is our circular function, wherein we are given a unit circle equal to a unit circle with radius equal to 1 unit. So we are given circular function sine and cosine, wherein sine theta. Always remember that the x value of this one today is to define those theta. We need to define the value of the angle in degrees and in radians. So in order for us to find the exact location of that point, okay? So before we discuss the exact location of that point, let us first remember the signs in a Cartesian coordinate system. So what will be the signs of the sine, the cosine, the cosecant, the tangent, the cotangent, and the secant? Okay, before we discuss the signs, so let us first have the 6 circular functions. Can you still remember the 6 circular functions that we have? Any volunteer? Yes, Rachel, what are the 6 circular functions?
Sir, sine, cosine, tangent po. And yung reciprocal naman po nila is cosecant, secant, and cotangent po.
Okay, thank you. So, those are the 6 circular functions. Namely, we have sine. Its co-function is cosecant. We also have cosine. So its co-function is secant. We also have tangent, and its co-function is cotangent. Okay, so those are the 6 circular functions that we have. So if we are given those 6 circular functions, what do you think are the signs of these 6 circular functions? Okay, if we would like to determine the signs of these 6 circular functions, remember that we need to have the Cartesian coordinate system. And there is a mnemonic in which we could easily identify the signs of the circular functions. And this is our mnemonics. So we have add sugar to coffee. So we will be starting with quadrant 1. For quadrant 1, add. So first letter is A, therefore, all positive. For quadrant 2, we have sugar, wherein sine is positive and the co-function of sine is cosecant. Therefore, sine and cosecant for sugar is positive. Are we clear? And for quadrant 3, that is 2. So therefore, the first letter starts with T, and it is tangent. Therefore, tangent is positive. And what is the co-function of tangent? Anyone? The co-function of tangent is
Cotangent po.
cotangent.
Cotangent.
Therefore, cotangent is also positive. And for the fourth quadrant, we have coffee. Therefore, the first letter is C, and cosine is positive. What is the co-function of cosine?
Secant po.
Secant.
Secant.
Therefore, cosine and secant is positive. Okay? Therefore, add sugar to coffee. So we'll be having first quadrant, all positive. Second quadrant, sugar, sine, and cosecant, positive. Third quadrant, 2. Tangent, cotangent, positive. Fourth quadrant, C, coffee, cosine, positive. Okay, so let's draw. Okay, all positive. Sugar, okay, therefore that is sine and cosecant, positive. 2, therefore that is tangent, positive. Okay, this is quadrant 1, this is quadrant 2, quadrant 3, quadrant 4. And for quadrant 4, coffee, letter C, that is cosine, and secant, positive. Okay, so these are the 6 trigonometric functions. These are the signs of the 6 trigonometric functions. So if in case that your angle will lie on the first quadrant, therefore, if this is your angle, it will lie on the first quadrant. Therefore, that angle is positive. May it be sine, cosine, tangent, and their co-functions. Okay, what if your angle lies on the third quadrant? What if your angle lies on the third quadrant and you are asked the value of secant theta? What will be the value of the secant theta if your angle is on the third quadrant? Anyone would like to answer? Yes, Rachel?
Negative po.
Negative, because only the tangent and cotangent are positive on the third quadrant. Is that clear? Okay, so what if we now have, what if we'll be having an angle lying on the positive x, positive y, negative x, negative y? What if your angle is 90 degrees? What if your angle is 270 degrees? What if your angle is 360 degrees? What will be the values of sine, cosine, and tangent? So again, I have used a mnemonics for this one. If you are a Catholic, that is just sign of the cross. So this one. So I'll call it in calculus, we call that the cos. Sine of the cos. Okay? Again, sine of the cos. Therefore, we have value of the sine if it is in y axis. We have value of the cosine if it is in x-axis. Okay, so let's have first 90 degrees. Okay, so sine of the cos. Therefore, this is sine, this is cos, this is cos. Okay, sine of the cos. So, where is the positive y? This is positive y, therefore this is positive 1. Is this positive x? Yes or no?
Yes po.
This is positive 1. This is negative 1. This is negative 1. Okay, so if I have here 9 and you're asked get the value of sine 90, therefore sine 90, 0, 90, 180, 270, 360. Sine, is there a value of sine in 90? Sine of the cos, is there a value of sine here? Yes or no? Is there a value of sine here? Sine 90.
Yes po.
Yes, and what is the value of sine here? The value of sine here is
Positive 1 po.
positive 1. Okay, therefore sine 90 is equal to positive 1. What if I ask you what is the value of cosine 270? Is there a value of sine 270? Let us first locate where 270 is. 0, 90, 180, 270. Okay, so we're asked to get cosine. Sine and sine. Okay, sine. Here is 270. Here is 270. Do we have value of cosine 270 here? Yes or no?
No po.
Wala po.
No. Therefore, cosine 270 is what?
0 po.
Very good. Cosine 270 is 0. Okay. So are we clear regarding sine of the cos? We called it sine of the cos so that we could easily identify the values of the angle. Are we clear with this one?
Yes po, sir.
Okay, so I will just erase this. So I hope that sine of the cos is clear. So let's continue our discussion. So what is a reference angle? Okay, so a reference angle for any angle is the acute angle between the terminal and the x-axis. Always remember that reference angle of a given angle is always between 0 degrees and 90 degrees. Last time we were able to discuss coterminal angles. Wherein coterminal will have 160. And always remember that coterminal angles must be 60 degrees. But if we have reference angle, these reference angles will have an angle that is between 0 to 90. Okay? So it is different from coterminal angles, wherein coterminal angles are less than 360 degrees. In reference angle, the maximum value would be 90 degrees. So let's have here an example. Name the reference angle for each of the following angles. Please indicate the quadrant. So let me do it first, and then for the second one, we do it, and for the last one, you do it. Okay? Okay. For number 1, letter A. So we're asked to get the reference angle. So we have here 30 degrees. So let us graph 30 degrees. So, how do we graph 30 degrees? Identify first if it is positive. Is 30 degrees positive? Yes or no?
Yes po,
Yes.
Yes
sir.
po.
Therefore, this is our 30 degrees. This is our 30 degrees, and we could say that 30 degrees is now the reference angle. Are we clear? Since it is between 0 to 90, 30 is just the reference angle. Is that clear? Yes or no?
Yes po.
Okay, how about 135 degrees? For 135 degrees, let us graph. So in graphing, that is positive. Therefore, this is the positive side, 90. So, 90. What do we add to 90 in order for it to become 135? We add
45 po.
45. So, this is 135 degrees. Is 135 degrees considered as the reference angle? Yes or no?
No po.
No po.
No. Okay. Always remember that a reference angle must be from 0 to 90 degrees. And 135 degrees is more than 90. Okay. So the definition of reference angle is that this is the terminal side wherein it should have a desired position with respect to the x-axis. Okay. Do we have angle here in the x-axis? Based on the graph, do we have an angle here on that lies on the x-axis? Yes or no?
Yes po.
Do we have it?
Yes po.
Okay, look at the graph. Look at the graph. Look at the graph. This angle is with respect with the y-axis. If this is 45 degrees, this is not the angle that we will be using. Therefore, we need to get an angle that is complementary to 45 but lies on the x-axis of that quadrant. And therefore, this is the angle that we will be using. Are we clear? Not this one, but this one, because it is with respect with the x-axis, regardless if that x-axis is positive or negative. Are we clear?
Yes po, sir.
Okay. Therefore, in this case, the reference angle of 135 degrees is
45 degrees po.
45 degrees. Are we clear? Okay, always remember that your reference angle must be with respect with the x-axis, regardless if that x-axis is positive or negative. Okay, for the third one, we have negative 210 degrees. Okay, let us try to graph. This is positive. Therefore, if we would like to have it on the negative side, we go downward. This is negative 90. This is negative 180. So, what do we add to 180 so that it becomes 210? We add
30 po.
30. Therefore,
30 po.
this is 210 degrees. This is now negative 210 degrees. Okay, if we have negative 210 degrees, what is that angle that could be measured with respect with x-axis? Okay, look at this graph. That angle must be
30 degrees po.
30 po.
30 degrees. Okay, therefore, our reference angle is 30 degrees. Okay, our reference angle for this one is 30 degrees. Okay, so in this case, let us identify their quadrant. For letter A, it is located where? At quadrant?
Quadrant 1 po.
Quadrant 1.
1 po.
Okay, for letter B, it is located at quadrant
2 po.
2 po.
Quadrant.
Quadrant 2. For letter C, it is located at quadrant
2 po.
Two po.
Quadrant 2. Okay? So that is how we identify reference angle. So it is now your turn. So could you please identify the reference angle of 330 degrees and negative 140 degrees? I am giving you 2 minutes to answer. Okay, are you done po? Okay, last 1 minute. Okay, are you finished? Miss Gonzalez, are you here?
Yes po, sir.
Are you done?
Yes po.
Could you please answer the first one, or could you please show us your screen? Could you please take a photo of your answer and then share it
Wait,
to the class?
wait lang po. So, nakalimutan po ako. Wait lang po.
Okay, so who'd like to share his or her answer to the class? Would like to share their screen? Anyone? So that we could see your graph. Yes, Rachel.
Sir. Sir, mag-open. Sir, mag-open
yes.
ka po.
Yes.
Sir, visible po ba?
Yes, we could see your answer, but somehow it's pixelated. Okay, for number 1, we have, what is the given, Rachel? Could you please explain your answer?
Sir, yung given po is 330 degrees. So, since positive po siya, nag-move po siya, nag-move po siya pataas po. So minus ko po siya sa 270, yung 330 po, minus ko po siya sa 270. Then, ang matitira po is 60 degrees. Ibig sabihin po, 60 degrees pa po ang kailangan para mabuo siya na 330 degrees. So, since po ang hinahanap po natin is reference angle, 30, pag po minus po natin yung 60 degrees na yun sa 90, magiging 30 degrees po. At yun po yung kukuhanin natin kasi yun po yung nasa pagitan ng terminal side at saka ng x-axis po. So, ang reference angle po is 30 degrees po.
Okay, thank you. So what is the sign of the fourth quadrant?
Sir, ano po?
So what will be the sign of the fourth quadrant if you are given circular functions? So what are the positive sides and what are the negative circular functions for the fourth quadrant?
Sir, yung positive po is yung cosine and yung secant po. And negative po yung tangent, cotangent, secant, and cosecant po.
Tangent, negative would be tangent and sine. Okay.
Opo.
Okay, so how about the next one? So we are given negative 140 degrees. We are given negative 140 degrees. Other hand? Yes, Miss Senados?
Sir, i-share screen ko na lang po.
Okay, and then can you please explain? Yes, Miss Senados.
Ko lang po yung mic ko, then mag-share screen. So, yan po yung naging ano ko po, answer ko po. Since yung given po is negative 140, dun po tayo sa negative magi-start po. Sa parang sa fourth quadrant po. And then po, since negative 140 po yun, minus ko po yung 180 minus 140 po. So, since dito po sa kabilang quadrant is may 90 degree, ang idadagdag na lang po natin sa 90 is 50 po para maging negative 140 po. And yung 90 po, minus ko po siya, or minusan ko po siya ng 50 so that the reference angle po is the 40 degree po.
Therefore, what is your reference angle? The reference angle would be?
Negative 40 po. Degree.
Okay, so the reference angle is 40 degrees. Okay, so that is how we solve for reference angle. I'll just use my second camera. Okay. Let's continue our discussion. This topic is somehow related to the discussion of the Socatoa in your physics class when you were in grade 10. Okay, so I just need to have an overview of Socatoa so that you'll be able to fully understand the lesson about circular function. Okay, so I'll just erase this part. We have here Socatoa. We're in Socatoa was derived from the circular functions sine, cosine, and tangent. Let's start with sine. Okay, so if we are given sine theta, therefore sine theta is so. What do we mean by O and what do we mean by H? So means sine theta is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. Are we clear? Are we clear about sine theta?
Yes po.
Yes po,
Yes
sir.
po,
Okay.
sir.
So if that is sine theta, what is the cofunction of sine? What is the cofunction of sine? The cofunction of sine is cosecant theta. Okay, therefore cosecant theta is the reciprocal of sine theta, and that becomes hypotenuse over opposite. Okay, for cosine, we have ka. Therefore, we could say that cosine theta is adjacent over hypotenuse. And what is the cofunction of cosine theta? That becomes
Secant.
Secant po.
secant theta. Secant theta is hypotenuse over adjacent. And for the last one, we have tangent theta. Therefore, we could say that tangent theta is opposite over adjacent. And we have cotangent theta, which is adjacent over opposite. Okay, so how do we use Socatoa? Okay, so how do we use Socatoa? So let's try to have an example for Socatoa. Okay, so what if we're given a triangle? We're given here a triangle. This is our angle. This is 4. This is 3. This is 4. Okay. And we're asked to get all the values of sine, cosecant, cosine, secant, tangent, and cotangent. Okay. So we are given a right triangle with sides 3 and 4. So the first thing that we need to do is to identify the hypotenuse. So in this case, how do we identify the hypotenuse? Let's call that side C. Therefore, C squared is equal to A squared plus B squared. And that C is equal to the square root of A squared plus B squared. Okay, therefore we could say that A is 3, that is 3 squared, and that B is 4, therefore that becomes 4 squared. 3 squared is 9, 4 squared is 16. Therefore, what is 9 plus 16?
25 po.
25
25 po.
Therefore, what is the square root of 25?
5 po.
5 po.
5. Therefore, we could say that C is equal to 5 units. Let us now identify the values of sine theta up to the last, which is cotangent. Okay. Therefore, what is sine theta? Sine theta is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. So this is how we identify the opposite side and the hypotenuse. Remember that this is your angle, and the opposite side with this angle is 4, and that becomes 4 over. What is the hypotenuse?
5 po.
5 po.
5 po.
Okay, so that is sine theta. I hope that this is clear. Therefore, the reciprocal is the cofunction, and that is the cosecant theta. Cosecant theta is 5 over 4. Okay, how about for cosine theta? Cosine theta now is
3 over 5 po.
3 over 5 po.
cosine theta is ka, adjacent over hypotenuse. Adjacent is 3, wherein the hypotenuse is 5. If cosine theta is 3 over 5, what happens now to secant theta? Secant theta
Five.
becomes
5 thirds.
5 over 3 po.
5 over 3. And for the last one, we are given tangent theta. Therefore, tangent theta is
4 over 3
4 over
po.
3 po.
4 over 3 because that is adjacent, that is opposite over adjacent. And how about for cotangent theta? Cotangent theta now is
3 over 4.
3 over 4 po.
3 over 4. Is this clear?
Yes po,
Yes
sir.
po,
Is Socatoa clear? Okay, so it is now your turn to identify. It is now your turn to identify the values of the 6 circular functions using the sides of the triangle. So I will give you your seat work. Okay. Answer number 5. If the terminal side of an angle theta goes through the point -3, -4, evaluate the 6 trigonometric functions. Again, if the terminal side of an angle theta that goes through the point -3, -4, evaluate the 6 trigonometric functions. I'm giving you 3 minutes to answer. Okay. If the terminal side of an angle theta goes through the point -3, -4, evaluate the 6 trigonometric functions. Okay, last 1 minute. Are you done? Are you done po? Okay, are you done? Could you please raise your hands once you're done answering? Yes, Alphonse?
Sir, try lang po. Okay lang po ba yun?
Okay, sige. Let's see if your answer is right.
Okay po, sir. So, we have the value po kanina ng -3 and -4 po. Tapos, ginawa ko po siyang which is the value po ng adjacent po natin and the opposite po. Kapag po nilagay po natin siya sa...
Okay.
Then, after po nun is, syempre po, kailangan ko pong mahanap yung value po ng hypotenuse po natin. Which is, tulad po ng ginawa kanina, yun po yung value po ng C, which is yung C squared equals A squared plus B squared po. Bali po, in-squared po natin yung -3 squared plus -4 squared po. Mabibigyan po tayo ng sagot ng square root of 9 plus 16 po. Kasi negative po siya pareho kapag po minultiply po sa sarili is magiging positive din naman po. So we have square root of 9 plus 6 is equals to square root of 25 po. So C is equals to 5 po. So sir, iisa-isahin ko lang po ba?
Okay.
Sir, yung sign po natin is equals to -3 over 5 po. Then,
Okay.
yung cosecant po is equals to 5 over -3 po. Then, yung cosine po is cosine po is
Yes, Alphonse.
ay sir, yung sine po pala is -4 over 5. Sorry po.
Okay.
Tapos din yung po is mababaliktad po. 5 over 4 po. Then yung cosine po is -3 over 5 po. Then yung secant po is 5 over -3 po. Then yung tangent po is -4 over -3. Then yung cotangent po is -3 over -4 po.
Okay, let's try to find out if these answers are correct. So based on the problem, okay, I will read the problem again. So based on the problem, if the terminal side of an angle theta goes through the point -3, -4, evaluate the 6 trigonometric functions. So the very first thing that we need to do is to plot the point first. Where is -3, -4 located? So -3, so that means we have -x. So -1, -2, -3, -4. So we also have -1, -2, -3, -4. So this is the point. So this is the point. And it was stated on the given on the problem that this is the terminal side of the angle. So, okay. So, if the terminal side of an angle theta goes through the point -3, -4, evaluate the 6 trigonometric function. So, imagine that if this is the angle, it will go through this one. Okay. So since we are given a point and that is -3, -4, we could say that our triangle will be this one. Okay? And this length is 3 and this length is 4. But we could not say that it is not anymore 3. Therefore, we could say that this is -3 and this is -4. Are we clear? Is this clear?
Yes po, sir.
Okay. Therefore, we could say that this is our angle theta. Why? Why do you think that this is our angle and theta and it is not the angle theta? Why do we consider that this is theta and not this angle? Anyone? Because, again, why do we consider this theta and not this theta? Because it is with respect with the x-axis. Okay, so that is the reason. So for this one, this is angle theta, this is -3, this is -3, -4. Okay, so based on Alphonse's answer, all of his answers are what? Are negative. Okay, but we could say, where can we find the location of -3, -4? What is the quadrant?
3 po.
Quadrant 3. So in quadrant 3, we could say that tangent and cotangent must be
Positive po.
positive. Therefore, tangent is positive, cotangent is positive, but all the other circular functions are negative. So let's find out if the answers are correct. So -3, -4, this must be 5. Okay, so therefore, sine theta is so opposite. Therefore, opposite is -4/5. So that is correct. -5/4, that is cosecant. And we have cosine ka, that is adjacent, which is -3, over hypotenuse, which is 5, correct? Secant is -5/3. Okay, for tangent, so that is TOA, opposite, -4 over adjacent, which is -3. Therefore, based from that solution, -4 divided by -3, it becomes positive. Therefore, that is 4/3. And for cotangent theta, we have 3/4. Is this clear? Remember that if you are given a point and you need to plot that, the very first thing that you need to do is to identify the quadrant. After identifying the quadrant, all you have to do is to identify the positive circular function. And that is how we get the 6 trigonometric functions on Cartesian coordinate system. Okay, any questions? Any questions, clarifications?
None po, sir.
Okay, so Miss Gonzalez, what did you learn for today? Could you give us a
Sir, ano po, for me po, yung natutunan ko po today is all about the reference angle po, na kung saan magagraph po kami and magkasolve po kami kung ano po yung reference angle po na hinahanap. And then yung sa last po is about the Socatoa po. Ano po, sir?
Okay. Miss Katakutan, what did you learn for today?
I learned about unit circle po. Circle with the center at origin and radius with 1 unit.
Okay. So Miss Gersha, could you please explain what you have learned for this morning?
Sir, of course, I have learned the everything. I mean, I have learned the unit circle po, then how to get the reference angle, the terminal angles, and yung table of signs po. And I think very helpful po ito para sa akin. Hindi lang naman po para sa akin, kundi po para sa iba. Kasi ito po yung isa sa, of course, sa pinaka-basics po ng trigonometry, and as an aspiring engineering student, so alam ko po na malaki po ang may tutulong ito sa akin balang araw po. Thank you po, sir.
Okay, so for the summary of our lesson, so we have discussed the reference angle. Always remember that reference angle must be from 0 to 90 degrees. So remember that it must have, with respect to the x-axis, may it be positive or negative x value. So we also have the Socatoa, sine opposite over hypotenuse, cosine ka adjacent over hypotenuse, and tangent TOA opposite over adjacent. And remember that we also have our mnemonics, which is add sugar to coffee, wherein the first quadrant is all positive, the second quadrant sine, cosecant positive, third quadrant tangent, cotangent positive, and for the fourth quadrant is cosine and secant positive. So that is how we identify the signs of the circular functions if we are asked to evaluate the 6 trigonometric functions. So for your assignment, this is your assignment. If the terminal side of an angle theta goes through the point 5, -12, evaluate the 6 trigonometric functions. You may now take a screenshot of our assignment. And you should be able to attach this on our Google Classroom. Okay, so could you please open your cameras so that we'll be able to at least have a class picture for this morning? Okay, for the last time, do you still have questions, clarifications regarding circular functions and Socatoa? Next meeting, our topic will be evaluating different circular functions given in degrees, not anymore given in points, but given in degrees and in radians. Okay, I'll just take a screenshot. Okay, so I guess